Where in the world is Jimmy San Diego? Well, he's not in San Diego. Remember, this franchise was not successful enough, not economically viable to stay in San Diego, so they had to go to LA, and that's where Jim Harbaugh is. He is interviewing for the Chargers job today. Adam Schefter put it out yesterday that his second interview was scheduled. Harbaugh flew to LA last night with his wife, Sarah. We'll give you all the details, everything you need to know from the Michigan side, and we'll dabble on the NFL side. I'm going to talk some Sharon Moore, Jesse Minter, and more here on today's show. The NFL blog boys, they're saying a deal is within striking distance. I've got a deal for you guys. Next 15 people to follow me on Twitter, a.k.a. X. Let's X together. You want some X? You want some X? I got some X for you. It's at James Yoder. Next 15 people to follow me after this show. We're filming around almost 5 o'clock Eastern on Tuesday. Next 15 people, I will follow you back, and we'll feature you on our next show. So go ahead and do that. It's at James Yoder on X. Link is down in the comments and in the description. It is the Michigan Football Report by Chat Sports. Let's get it going right now. The Michigan Football Report is presented by 8 Sleep, the high-tech solution for your age-old sleeping issues. Go to 8sleep.com/chatsports. Get $200. You heard me right, $200 off plus free shipping on the pod cover by 8 Sleep. Let's take a look at today's big-time stories. This quote coming from Mike Garafolo of the NFL Network says, it feels like Harbaugh is not toying with the NFL to try to get Michigan to agree to something, leveraging them for a better deal. This has felt like Harbaugh's eyes locked on the NFL, and this could be the move in the near future to Los Angeles, back to California, where he's worked 3 different spots, right? University of San Diego, Stanford, and the San Francisco 49ers before, where he's played before, of course, with the San Diego Chargers themselves, and then where he'd be comfortable. Jim Harbaugh in LA, 2-person trip. And I actually saw a rumor that Jay Harbaugh went too, but I haven't been able to confirm that. But Jay Harbaugh himself is being rumored elsewhere. So Harbaugh's out in LA. Here's what's being said out there to catch you guys up. You've been at work all day. This is my job, so I get to kind of keep an eye on things. Although our side of things and sources haven't necessarily said anything more than what we said last week when we said that Harbaugh has made up his mind. Now that he gets a second interview, I think it's actually on the Chargers side of things of whether or not he's going to get this job or not. So Garafolo says the Inside NFL Network, Chargers and Jim Harbaugh are now within striking distance of getting a deal done. Harbaugh is in LA for another meeting with the team. So Harbaugh heading west, 3 different stops prior to Michigan from 2004 to 2014, I think it was. So 11 total seasons for Stanford, 4 at 49ers, 3 with the University of San Diego. They flew to LA last night. Second video interview for Harbaugh also scheduled with the Atlanta Falcons. Don't know if that's actually going to happen if things progress with the Chargers here. Also, some buzz today that, along with the Harbaugh striking distance deal imminent rumors that Pete Carroll and Mike Vrabel, right, 2 very successful NFL coaches, also Carroll, a very successful college coach in the city of L.A., maybe the biggest college coach in L.A. over the past 30 or 40 years, right, is Pete Carroll, won a couple national titles there. Are pushing for the job. That comes from Mike Florio, Pro Football Talk. I don't think he ever really has much insight of things. Like, he says things always second nature, and he throws stuff out like this that seems to go counter to what everyone else is hearing on this subject. So why would Jim Harbaugh go back to the NFL, right? His brother is the favorite now, or along with the 49ers, funny enough, the team that Jim Harbaugh left after 2014. Those are the 2 teams favored in the NFC and AFC Championship game on Sunday, favored to play each other in the Super Bowl 11 years after Harbaugh played his brother. Had Harbaugh won that game, maybe he had been Michigan's coach at some point anyways and not have the itch go back to the NFL. So damn you, John Harbaugh. It's all your fault that Jim might be leaving Michigan for the San Diego/LA Chargers. I got a lot of Chargers followers now, Jack, so no more bad-mouthing them. This might be a Chargers friendly show going forward because I actually am very happy with what Jim Harbaugh did, and I will wish him the best, although I don't necessarily like that he's leaving potentially. Jordan Schultz of Bleacher Report says Jim Harbaugh wants to coach the Chargers. They want to coach him. It's just a matter of if they can get the deal done. Harbaugh apparently has some questions for them about bringing in his staff. That's kind of not really like that. And analytics, folks, and those needs and requirements are met. Here's the photo that was going around Twitter today. I just can't stand this. Look at this. You got this logo here. You got this damn hat here. Somebody from one of these websites does the old edit. That kind of makes me want to puke, right? It makes me feel sick, sick to my stomach, because I think Michigan could be the next dynasty in college football. All the momentum in the world with Jim Harbaugh and this staff. But let me know what you guys are thinking. Mine is puke. It's the one where it describes that photo of Jim Harbaugh in LA Chargers gear. Next topic up of the show today, to quote Vito Corleone, aka the Don, I made him an offer he couldn't refuse. You got to make him an offer that he can't refuse. I'm not sure if you guys know what I'm talking about or who, but we are going to tell you about it next. But we are presented by 8 Sleep, the high-tech solution for your age-old sleeping issues. This couldn't be a better sponsor for the Michigan Football Report because myself and several of the guys here in the office were already 8 Sleep customers, got them on our own. I reached out and said, hey, nobody can give you a better pitch than James Yoder. I am the worst sleeper in the world, right? I toss, I turn, I wake up in the middle of the night. 8 Sleep has solved all that for me, and now they're one of our sponsors. The Pod 3 cover slips right over your mattress, bringing heating and cooling tech that keeps you comfortable and sleeping deeper for a better, more restful night. Folks, as I said, $200 off plus free shipping. The link is 8sleep.com/chatsports. It's down in the comments and in the description of today's video. It's actually right included in the pinned comment right below the video. Start your New Year's right and invest in the rest you deserve with the 8 Sleep Pod. Sleep is super important to me. It's the only way I can run a company, have dozens of employees, still put out the highest quality and best Michigan football coverage on the market. The cover, it can be added over like any fitted bed sheet and allows you or your partner to have cool or warm on your side of the bed. So you're sleeping a little warm, you want to make it cooler. The gal or guy in your life wants it hotter, wants it warmer, whatever it is. You have 2 separate sides of the bed. They've got an amazing app to keep track of your sleep. No better way to improve your day-to-day life than better sleep, and the easiest way to do that is with 8 Sleep's Pod 3. Start your new year right. Invest in the rest you deserve with the 8 Sleep Pod. 8sleep.com/chatsports. $200 off plus free shipping on the pod cover by 8 Sleep. Get going with them. Sleep is super important to me. I know it's super important to you, and it can make the difference in a great day or a bad one. You're going to change your life with 8 Sleep. 8sleep.com/chatsports. So what is next for this Michigan football program if Jim Harbaugh is out as head coach, if he's going to leave after winning a national title, 3 straight years of beating Ohio State? Again, I just want to always say that in your face, Ohio State. Jim Harbaugh went on, five losses, etc. Whatever. Harbaugh got the best of Ohio State. No, he didn't even coach. That's how good he had at the end. He didn't even need to coach to beat Ohio State. They've got to change their entire program to try and beat whoever the Michigan coach is in 2024. But saw this tweet from Aaron Wilson, NFL. That's the greatest hack in the world, Jack. If you want to get Twitter credibility, just add NFL to your Twitter handle, and everyone thinks like you're a big insider or something like that. This guy doesn't even have a job, apparently. Hopefully he has gainful employment at some point, but he used to work for like the Houston Chronicle, but this tweet's going out there that Jim Harbaugh's staff, right? What could it look like? Jay Harbaugh, that makes sense. Jesse Minter, that one hurts as the D coordinator. But Greg Roman, who has a long history with Jim Harbaugh going back to Stanford, he's the co-OC at the 49ers, could be their offensive coordinator. This just seems off to me, right? Greg Roman is not employed right now. He got fired after last year as his brother's offensive coordinator. And looking at what the Ravens are doing this year, what's the big difference, right? It's their offensive philosophy has taken that tremendous defense that the Ravens had for years, especially the last 2 under Mike McDonald, have a much better offense with Lamar Jackson right now than they certainly did over the last couple of years with Greg Roman. I think the NFL has passed Roman by. He's not very old. I just guess he's in his early to mid-50s at this point because he was like in his 40s when he was with Harbaugh at the 49ers. But he doesn't have the kind of offense that I think is going to win with a guy like Justin Herbert. So that's just someone saying, oh, well, who was his OC with the 49ers? That guy doesn't have a job. Makes sense. But if that would have happened, Jim Harbaugh would have had Greg Roman employed at Michigan at some point over the last 9 years. I don't think that's anything to be considered, but that doesn't really pertain much to the Michigan football program. These 2 guys do, though. Jesse Minter, Jay Harbaugh. I think you could arguably say, Alabama game notwithstanding, that over the past 2 seasons, Jesse Minter and Jay Harbaugh have been the best defensive coordinator in all of college football. Jay Harbaugh has been the best special teams coordinator in all of college football. So it would really hurt, certainly would hurt Michigan's next coach, especially if it's Sherrone Moore, to lead kind of like if you got a triumvirate OC, DC special teams coordinator, if 2 of the 3 leave with the head coach, then you're scrambling to fill your 2 biggest deals or your 2 biggest positions on your coaching staff if you are Sherrone Moore. My thought here is you can't let him walk and go to the NFL, follow Jim Harbaugh without making him an offer that he can't refuse. Remember, coaching salaries are kind of the one thing in NFL and then pro leagues, college, that there's no salary cap, right? So the Chargers can make a big deal to them if they want, but NFL programs They go through coaches, NFL teams, they fire head coaches so frequently, like 2.3 years, like the average NFL tenure over the last 5, 6, 7 seasons. Coordinators get fired here and there, so you don't want to commit multiple years and multi-millions of dollars to a coordinator. So you've got to make an offer that he can't refuse. I'll talk about that more in a second, but I'll ask you guys this question. You answer it for me. Should Michigan, Ward Manuel, make a game-changing offer? And what I mean by that is like 50% more than the highest other coordinator in college football. Let's say, I should have pulled this, but let's say there's a coordinator out there making $2.3, $2.4 million, 2.5. How about 5 years, $25 million to Jesse Minter? Double the next best deal out there. I don't think it's crazy. I think you can make an argument that the 2023 Michigan defense is the best defensive unit we have seen in college football in over 20 seasons. So if you have there, if you've got the money that you're going to save on Jim Harbaugh, right? Harbaugh making 10, 11, you were going to be willing to make him up to $12, $13 million a year offer with incentives if he were to return. You're not going to pay another coach that, I don't think, right? Unless you're going to break the bank for Brian Kelly, if that's been rumored out there. That's nonsense, though. If it's Sherrone Moore, I would guess Sherrone Moore is going to get like a 5-year or 4-year, $6 million a year deal. So 5 years, $30 million, 4 years, $24 million. I doubt they commit less than 5 because it kind of seems like he's already on the hot seat. So then you've got $6, $7, $8 million in extra money that you want to use to put together the best staff to replace the greatness of Jim Harbaugh. So how about 5 million years, $25 million, right? The worst that can happen is he puts a buyout a year from now. He goes to the NFL, he pays a $2 million, $3 million buyout, or the team does, or he's all of a sudden becomes the worst defensive coordinator in history. You have to fire him. I think it's money well spent. You would spent that on Jim Harbaugh in less than a season, 2 seasons if you take the entirety of like a 5-year, $25 million deal. But Minter hasn't given up. He doesn't have his eye on the NFL. He's not interviewing anywhere, at least as far as I know. A lot of rumors he was the top candidate for the Jags. Never interviewed. They hired their defensive coordinator. Certainly the Philadelphia Eagles. He was the runner-up to that deal last year, for that position last year. They already fired the defensive coordinator, and now they're looking for another one. Seemingly they're going to keep their head coach, so maybe Minter's that one, or Jim Harbaugh with the Chargers or elsewhere. Him and Mike Elston, potentially a candidate to be Michigan's next DC. Elston are on the road. They're in the greater Chicago area, meeting yesterday, and I believe today as well, with a handful of top players in the 2025 recruiting class. So good to see that he's not packing it in, still doing his job, unlike Jim Harbaugh, unfortunately, at this point. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. It's youtube.com/Michigan TV. We are approaching, 32,000 subscribers now? That's our next milestone. So subscribe. Now is the time. Send that link, youtube.com/Michigan TV, to your Michigan group chat. Share it on social media. And remember, the moment this story happens, if it happens, hopefully it doesn't, we're prepared for it though, Jack and I will be live as fast as we can. If we're in the office, it's within minutes, hopefully. If it is, happens Thursday night at 10 o'clock, we'll be, probably take 45 minutes, an hour to get things set up. And you guys know the drill. Subscribe now, youtube.com/Michigan TV. But why the Chargers for Jim Harbaugh? Why the AFC? It's like Aaron Rodgers, right? Leaving the NFC, the Packers, where there's just not as many good teams and good quarterbacks even in the NFC. So Aaron Rodgers comes across, and now he's in the AFC. We're not even talking about him at this point. And there's still 4, 5, 6 other quarterbacks in the AFC that maybe a lot of people think are better than Justin Herbert. One other thing on that, it kind of reminds me of the NBA. Remember like 3 or 4 years ago when it seemed like LeBron moved over there, and then every single star in the NBA ended up in a West Coast team and a Western Conference team? That's what the AFC, from a quarterback position and perspective, is starting to feel like to me. And the Chargers are in salary cap hell, right? They've got one of the worst cap situations going into this next season. They are $45.8 million over the cap. So they got to shed all kinds of contracts before they even sign a free agent, even sign the number 5 pick in the NFL draft, anything like that. It gets a little better next year, but that's because some long-term deals come off the books, so you're going to lose some of your good players. But even at 112, which is like 30% cap wiggle room as the cap approaches $300-ish million, number 14, number 15, number 22. So over that 4-year period, kind of what you'd expect Jim Harbaugh to at least be the head coach of the Chargers no matter what would happen, they're going to be in salary cap hell, and they still have a couple players, younger players, that are coming up on their rookie deals expiring. They've got big contracts with Joey Bosa, big contracts with Justin Herbert. I don't think it's the most ideal situation if you think about the quarterback, good quarterback, but not one of the top 4 or 5 in the entire conference. And then cap hell, I don't know. I still think Justin Herbert, no cap, flexibility, or at least not anything that you would be super excited about. I just don't think it could take down Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen. did we forget? Aaron Rodgers is back next year. I mean, so you could say there's 5 quarterbacks right there that are definitely better than Justin Herbert. You probably a couple years ago, make a case for Deshaun Watson. You could definitely, unfortunately, make a case for Coldridge, C.J. Stroud. Who am I missing here in the AFC, right? Tua and the Dolphins. So I just don't think that, like, if you think about another, go to the NFC, there's bigger options. Now, the Chargers have the number 5 pick in the NFL draft. They shouldn't be thinking about quarterback there, so that's not possible. So maybe it's offensive lineman, other position. Maybe they trade back and get multiple picks in the first round, multiple picks in the second round. This team has a first, a second, a third, a fourth, a fifth, a sixth, and 2 7th-rounders in this 2024 NFL draft. So Jim Harbaugh says to you, if you're going to leave, go to the NFC, dude. It is ripe for the taking. Brock Purdy versus cast off from the Rams, Jared Goff. Those are the 2 quarterbacks facing in the NFC Championship game, right? So it's super easy, right? Think about where the Lions were just 2 or 3 years ago to where they are now. Think about last year. The 49ers had their 3rd-string quarterback. They had like a running back playing in the second half at quarterback of the NFC Championship game against the Eagles. That team's taking a step back. They're in all kinds of controversy. The NFC is ripe for the taking. How about the Washington Commanders? Now, it makes too much sense to me, and you might say, oh, that's a crap franchise. Well, it's kind of like the Penn State of the NFL, right? Great legacy, not necessarily one of the big boys as of late, right? The Commanders certainly don't elicit like Eagles or Steelers or 49ers level, excitement like Michigan, Alabama, Ohio State. But things are changing over there with the Commanders. They've got a new owner. It's not Daniel Snyder anymore. They've got a new owner from the 76ers. Not a football guy, willing to make some moves, put some money in this franchise, not just be satisfied with going 5-12 every year like it seems like the Commanders / football team / Redskins have been. They've got the number 2 pick in the NFL draft. So Jim Harbaugh could have his choice of quarterback outside of maybe the number 1 pick, Caleb Williams, or they could put together a package to the Bears, maybe trade a second rounder next year, et cetera, to get Caleb Williams if that is who they want, or maybe even J.J. McCarthy. 2 picks, number 2 pick this year, and then they've got a second rounder, 2 second rounders, 2 third rounders, and oh, by the way, Jack, do you know what major city is right up north from D.C., about 45 minutes away, depending on traffic? Baltimore. Could you imagine one Harbaugh brother here, one Harbaugh brother here? They don't have to face each other that often. Once every 3 or 4 years, you can put the parents right in the middle, still have that family thing going on. I don't know why Jim Harbaugh has not been a bigger candidate for the Washington Commanders. I think it makes just too much sense to me. And let's talk about cap hell. The Commanders are in cap heaven. They have the most cap space going into this next season. And over a 4-year period, it is night and day difference. Harbaugh might not win as much the first year, but over a 2 or 3 year season period, I think he has a much better chance of putting together a winning team and so much less competition than you would have in the AFC. Hell, even the AFC West, where Patrick Mahomes is likely to dominate that division no matter who the coach of the LA Chargers is. Switching gears here a little second, Mel Kiper put out a new mock draft this morning. He's been a little more down on JJ. He kind of had those number 5, number 6, number 7 quarterback all year in his quarterback power rankings for the draft. Hasn't cemented there as a first rounder, going number 17 to the Seattle Seahawks. We don't know who their head coach is, but that's a roster that is is built. They've got a quarterback coming back. What's his name for the Seahawks? Geno Smith. Is he coming back there next year? Probably. Who knows? But JJ could go there, sit for a year, come into a good situation with a very stable franchise for really forever. The Seahawks have almost had no down years. Even when they traded Russell Wilson, boom, they were in the playoffs the next season. So exciting to see. I do think JJ is going to get taken in the first round. I'd like him to go to a franchise like the Steelers or the Seahawks or somebody like that, and not end up in a program, a team like the Jets. I'm not saying that they're going to draft him, but a team where historically they draft a quarterback, he's out the door within 2 or 3 seasons. Reminder, follow me back on Twitter, aka X. I want to X with you guys. Let's X. That's me eating the Twitter bird. Now we're Xing. Following back the next 15 followers, and I'll feature you guys a little list with your Twitter handle on our next show. It's at James Yoder. Also, go support 8 Sleep. Take care of yourself. 8sleep.com/chatsports, $200 off. Till we see you again, whether it's a live show announcing Jim Harbaugh to the Chargers or tomorrow's show, go Blue.